Yeah, I just came downstairs one day and Raye was in my house. I was like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Raye. I was like, cool, I'm Howard. And we got chatting and I think I made her a cup of tea. And it turns out she was there doing a session with my housemate.
Won't you please pour your love in for me? Pour your love in for me. Like a waterfall, baby. Won't you please pour your love in for me? Pour your love in.
All right, so here's the project. Should we maybe start with the vocal and like the concept and the idea around the song maybe, and how the day sort of happened?
I mean, it was great. You know, like we worked with Raye for the first time, but I'd actually known her for a long, long time because we met in my house once. Where, yeah,
I like it when you explain how
I know,
this happened.
yeah, it's weird. I still have trouble like computing it myself. Yeah, I just came downstairs one day and Raye was in my house. I was like, who are you? Because you know, this was like 9 years ago, and I was like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Raye. I was like, cool, I'm Howard. And we got chatting and I think I made her a cup of tea. And it turns out she was there doing a session with my housemate. Yeah, they made a banger together. It was really cool. So I've actually known her since then because she's from the same area that we grew up in. Yeah, no, it was nice to see her again and get back in the room and actually make some music rather than just make a cup of tea. Although we probably did have a cup of tea again. But yeah, man, no, she's insane. Like, she's amazingly talented, super safe. Like, we all got on really well. Obviously, we were there with Jimmy as well, who is like the third member of the band. So yeah, it all fit very nicely. And there wasn't, I don't even think there was a conversation about like, oh, what kind of things should we make? It was like, oh, it's a sunny day in London and we're all here, let's make garage, obviously.
It's going to be garage, isn't
Yeah.
it? So this was not my first time meeting Raye either when we did this. I had worked with her before in LA on another session where we bumped into each other. Yeah, so we'd all met, but we'd never like got it together in the same room and like sort of specifically said, we're going to write something for Disclosure or you, depending on how it sounds. But yeah, as soon as we got there, it was garage time, it was sunny, and we were like, this is probably going to end up being a song for us because it just sort of fits our vibe. I think the song's got a lot of our old school flavors to it. You know, I think a lot of techniques that I would have liked to have known how to do back when we made songs like You and Me and Stimulation, I can now like implement in the writing of this. But the writing and like the vibe is very similar, I think. All right, let's begin. So I guess we should just play the song a bit. Should we start with the vocals?
I only see you and I in a crowded room. You're my decision.
So a bit of like delay, automation going on in between those gaps, just for the decision, turning the time, which is kind of nice. So yeah, this is all being compressed a bit. I think he would have recorded it through a tube tech.
Crowded room, you're my decision.
Bit of EQ, not too aggressive really, just like pulling out some lows, about 4 dB, and like, you know, what's it called, dynamic EQ, pulling out some mids. Couple of resonances here that I didn't like, and boosting the highs.
I only see you and I.
This will just be like whistly. No one needs that. Bit of a de-esser.
I only see you and
Just tame in the C. And then this, yeah, my classic gem dopamine trick, which boosts the high frequencies while de-essing a little bit more. So it gives you all of that nice air. So put all that together. Here's without.
I only see you and I.
With.
I only see you and I.
You know, just lifts it
A little
up.
breathier, yeah.
A little breathier and less like MIDI. Because it's garage, there's so much high frequencies in the mix, like all of the hi-hats with, you know, it's like you really have to carve out some highs in the vocal. Otherwise, the hi-hats are just going to sit right up here and the vocals down here. Or you can just make your drums not as bright, but you don't want dead drums in garage. Like, my favorite thing about old school garage records is they are so trebly, and sometimes the vinyl itself like distorts when you're listening back to them because it's just like, and I like that. So there's a tasteful way of doing it. Bit of delay, bit of reverb, sidechain compression, tremolo. I think that gets automated and just sort of pans her around a little bit. That's it. That's the lead vocal. Verse 2, exactly the same settings. Oh no, it's not. I've got no tube tech on that one. That might be a mistake, quite honestly. I don't know why I would have done that. Moving on to the pre, we got layers of 3. So 1 down the middle and then sort of 1 each side, left and right. Not all the way left and right. I wanted to save like the full panning till the chorus, so it went super wide.
Hold on, pushed you back for so long. Oh, and I'm all out of good excuses now, baby. Alright, I can't wait one more night. Oh, I give up, I give in, I can't take it.
So on that time, I kind of just let the reverb and effects hang over, and the drop just kind of blends in. And then the next one, I just did this like insane effects build up and then mute so that the drums hit like extra hard just to make each drop a little different.
I give up, I give in, I can't take it.
like that. So on its own, it doesn't sound that natural, but when you take it up with all the synths,
I give up, I give and I can't take it. Won't you please pour your love?
yeah, it just needed that extra. Same exact settings, I think, on the bus, except for I've gone for a blue stripe compressor. Just adds like more harmonics and a bit more distortion into the sound. Very minimal on each track. I've got no compressor. I think they were just recorded really nicely. Didn't need it. So it's literally just got a little bit of EQ and a de-esser. So yeah, everything you can see here is all that's going on. It's very minimal. Anything you want to say about the lyrics and the melodies of these parts?
No, I mean, we spent quite a long time making sure, especially when we rewrote the verses, trying to make sure that all the sections were different enough melodically.
Yeah.
Especially as like the post-chorus is so like just legato the whole time. So most of the other sections we went quite like either rhythmic or sparser. But yeah, no, I think my favorite melody in it is definitely the verse. I love that melody now. I love how it jumps up fourths and it's so like 90s R&B to go da 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 da, you know. So yeah, no, I think that's my favorite. I don't think we need to go into the lyrics again though. You know, I like people thinking it's about whatever they want it to be about.
Here's the harm bus underneath that.
And I'm all out of good excuses now, baby.
Nice.
Sounds so nice on its own.
I give up, I give and I can't take it.
Yeah, so those, you know, complement that.
I can't wait one more night. Oh, I give up, I give and I can't take it.
Nice. Cool. So that's the pre. Here's the chorus. So yeah, it's quite a lot of tracks in the chorus. Got a little bit of auto-tune on like some of the tracks, but not all. Yeah, so just the one in the middle, I've put auto-tune on a super low setting. And it was more for like the texture, to be honest, because it was, sometimes auto-tune does some like interesting phasey, flangey stuff, which can be quite nice. But look, there's like more Rays on here without auto-tune than there is with. So it's not like we need to tune this, you know. It's more of a textural thing. I can't explain it, but it's like when I bypassed them off, it sounded worse than on. So I left them on. They don't need to be there, and there's nothing wrong with it without. I'll give you the before and after. But other than that, it's just the same. Tube tech compression, copy and pasted the same EQ pretty much from the pre-chorus. And then, yeah, very similar bus processing as well. Blue stripe EQ with some dynamic stuff going on at the top. I think I've, put an Oxford inflator on there as well just to bring the chorus up even more. Here's the chorus.
Won't you please pour your love in over me? All your love in over me like a waterfall, baby. Won't you please pour your love in over me? All your love in over me. I need you to let your waterfall.
So I also had a soothe here, so that's what this is missing. In fact, all the vocals, you see this gap here. This is where I had soothe, which is like a harshness, a de-harsher, let's say that. It's a soother. They're so CPU intensive that I had to get rid of them, and instead I've just sort of put one on the vocal bus of everything. So, it was bypassed. I'll put it back on. So yeah, you might hear a few frequencies popping out that are a bit harsh because I've lost soothe.
Won't you please pour your love in over me? All your love in over me like a waterfall, baby. Won't you please pour your love?
So that was this chorus bus is the only bus that has that kind of slapbacky delay, and it's because the rest have quite nice long reverbs, and we wanted the chorus to sound like it was just there, like it would come right up, but not totally dry. So instead of going for like a short reverb or a long reverb, we've gone for like a slapback delay. Cool. All right, I've got these ones labeled as breakdown vox, but they're kind of like a middle 8. I'm pretty sure these were just recorded on an SM7 while she was sitting on the floor. I think this was literally the most demo-y bit.
Yeah, I wasn't even in the room when this part was written and recorded. I went to the loo, and then I think I answered a phone call for like 5 minutes, came back in, and this was written and recorded. I was like, oh wow.
That's right, I remember now, yeah.
Give me something to live for. Give me something to love. Give me something to hold on to. I'll be nothing above.
So you can hear that like there's more spill of the track behind the vocals too, and that's because it's just like coming out of the speakers really, really quietly. I don't think she was even wearing headphones at this point. It might be a Neumann actually, I don't know, but it definitely wasn't recorded in the vocal booth. It's hard to remember because like the whole thing was demo vocaled on an SM7 while she sat on the floor, and then we re-recorded almost all of it in the booth. But for some reason I remember not redoing this bit because it just sounded nice, like how much more like soft and a bit lo-fi it was, because when the rap bit comes in here, it made it like So it wasn't much point making the middle 8 super clear, because then you're just sort of competing to make the rap bit sound even bigger.
Never had a lover like you, no. It's the kind of loving I do want. Settle some, settle in, love him, and I'm telling him, got a good girl and an element, yeah. Never had a lover like you, no. It's the kind of loving I do want. Settle some, settle in, love him, and I'm telling him, got a good girl and an element.
Jace. And we got some harmonies at the end, just for that one little moment.
Never had a lover like you, no. It's the kind of loving I do want. Settle some, settle in, love him, and I'm telling him, got a good girl and an element.
So here's how it actually sounds, the rap section, if I take all the plugins off.
Never had a lover like you, no. It's the kind of loving I do want. Settle some, settle in, love him, and I'm telling him, got a good girl and an element, yeah. Never had.
So I'm going in pretty hot to the Neve there already. You can hear it, like, it is fizzing and it is kind of distorting a bit, but we're not even halfway there yet. We need a lot more distortion. But what we did is ram it violently through Decapitator on punish mode.
Oh, that's a nice little chain of things you just said there.
We violently rammed it through Decapitator. Yeah. I mean, like, let's hear it with and without. So here's without.
Never had a lover like you, no.
With.
Never had a lover like you, no. It's the kind of loving I do want.
Just adding all that nice fizzy on top. I like this bit. Yeah, we really nearly cut this, but I'm so glad we didn't. I think we had it quite long before, and it's just nice to have a little splash of it before everything disappears.
Yeah, it's like a string line.
Yeah. It's a very different sound on that one. I've scooped out like all of the low mids and all the highs as well. I wanted it to sound like it was in a little old school radio or something. Yeah, distorting it also a little bit, but not as much as before. And I'm sending loads of it to the Logic Roto Cab, which is usually an effect for an organ, but I like using it on vocals. Here it is, just like dry. And then with Roto.
Like detunes it a little bit.
Yeah, and for me, it makes it sound like underwater Roto Cab for some reason. It just makes it sound like fluttery and it's just a nice, slightly less conventional way of doing a flanger or a chorus plugin. Well, I'm doing both, but yeah, that's the only real thing to say about these bits at the end. All right, there's the vocals and the sort of structure of the tune. Moving on to synths. So we'll go with the main chords first.
Yeah, because it's not one chord being pitched around. It's just
no.
we played all the chords and then you wanted to make them rhythmic with Jimmy. So you sampled each chord individually.
Yeah, so here's what we've been sampling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you wrote that.
I had those originally for the song, and then you were like, let's make it more garage, and chopped it into what it is now.
That's it. So yeah. Where's the little bit? Yeah, so there's another octave here. Same thing, but octave up, and then this little bit. Yeah. The organ sound itself, I think, is just the Logic organ as well. I think you wrote the chords on the piano, and I originally stuck my iPhone in it, and we were using that for a bit. Was that this song?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Have I got that? Yeah. Here's that. You can see where we wrote the organ parts.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was going to be originally. It's pretty good.
It's actually
It's
kind of
cool.
a vibe, yeah.
It's kind of a vibe, yeah. So we had that, and then I think it looks like I just sort of legatoed it all, so it was easier to sample. That's the sample there that I threw into Serato, and then Jimmy chopped it up. So that's how that sort of came to be. You got this little Poly 6 ARP thing as well, which is kind of fun. There's just like a little round off at the end of each bar, or now and again.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty subtle, but in some of the breakdowns you can hear it quite clearly. Yeah, cool. I mean, that's literally it for the chords. They're very simple. We've layered up some cool noises here though, which is quite fun. So this first synth was, I think it was the Peak, this thing here, Novation Peak. No, my bad. It was Pigments. It was, Pigments by Arturia. It was one of the settings on there. You can hear it panning very left and right. Are they the same exact chords? They've got some more notes in them, I feel like.
Do they?
Some richer.
No, that's in there.
Yeah, same chords. This crazy one. Got some pretty serious modulation. Just drifting in and out of...
What synth is that?
They're all a combination of Omnisphere, the Peak, and Pigments. Yeah. So I think that one was maybe Peak. That one was definitely Pigments. Maybe the other way around. And then this stuff was all Omnisphere. So
Oh.
that is, you know, those sounds in Omnisphere that are like dropping a coin on
Into a piggy bank.
Yeah. Or like a tin with beans in it or something. It's just like a few of those nice bells. That's DX7.
It's like a...
For sure. DX7.
Yeah. Super 80s.
What I like is how dissonant the bell is.
Yeah, it's got
like,
all those harmonics.
They're not that in tune, but altogether it sounds great. Some strings, just Logic strings. Violins. Same old chords. Just taking out all the lows. Just literally wanted like...
That's nice.
The nice sparkly highs to go with the nice chords. And that's all the synths. Here's the bass. There's two basses, but one it's mostly one. Then there's a little random garage fill, which Jimmy loved.
Of course,
so
he
we
did.
had to keep. The main bass of Waterfall is the Repro 1 by Yuhi. I've used this setting many times. I love it. I find with software synths a lot of the time it's quite difficult to find a synth that has a great attack for a bass. Like, most Moog emulations, they just don't do what a real Moog does on the front end. They have a great tone and the filter does a very similar thing, whatever, but they just don't, you press the note and it just doesn't go down.
Yeah, it's weird. Why haven't they mastered
Because they just
that?
clicky digi in and out.
Yeah.
But this one, I just really think nails it. Like I haven't even got the attack on 0 and it's just got such a banging front end.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bom, bom.
Yeah, like if you played that to me and told me it was a analog synth, I would definitely believe you.
Right? That's why I like it. It's all about the front end. See, without that Jaws plugin here, it's literally just sine wave. So that.
Huge sine wave.
Exactly. Going into Logic Overdrive, rolling off some of the highs, because it's bass, didn't need them. Then adding in some fizz with this soft tube saturator. Hear that on the top? That's, for me, is just making it sound like it's going through a bass amp. You know how you get that fizziness on a bass amp, like on the top? I always miss that when you take it away. So
Yeah.
EQ wise, probably just rolling off the lows. Yeah, rolling off the super lows a bit, boosting some of that front end click. And then we're going through 2 bit crushers. First one's adding more hiss. So that's really like a noisy. And the second one is more of a actual bit crush sound, I think. Yeah. And then I am limiting it a little bit too, because that's the only downside with that this Repro 1. If you're using the resonance as the tone of the synth, it doesn't have any velocity control, so your top notes are going to be they're going to be the same volume as the low notes, which usually you don't want. You want the bass to be louder and it to sort of get quieter.
Yeah.
I love that it only happens once in the song, and it's literally because Jimmy was there.
Yeah.
There's no other reason.
This may be a mistake.
Yeah, so with that bass, it is Monarch. That is the sound. All right, here's some drum action.
Oh.
Pretty happy with those. Yeah, pretty happy.
They slap. My favorite bit is.
Yeah, that happens quite a lot. Is it that hi-hat swoop? Yeah, I think it's that.
Oh, that's so nice.
There's also like a little trap fill, which is quite fun. Yeah. So those are a couple samples that I've probably got off of Splice, or no, that looks like an Apple loop. Yeah, around midnight hi-hat. So if you extend that, that's probably like a full beat. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy rhythm.
Yeah, there is actually a couple of other Logic stuff in here as well. So two-step balancing beat is one that I pulled in that was sort of, well, I mean, it was not pre-made, but there was some stuff in it that I liked. So I've deleted and muted stuff that I didn't like about it and then left in. Yeah, so I think that is a beat that you can pretty much drag in from Apple Loops. And I've just sort of EQ'd it and put it in a box. Because my favorite thing about it was the cabassa and the snare. So that was probably what I dragged in to just get the vibe going in the room. We're starting from scratch, so we're making garage. Two-step kit seems like the way to go. Usually I would just start like that and then take it out and replace it with something, but instead I just built and built and built on it. So if you take that as like the starting point, I'll take rid of all these plugins. That's what we started with. Added some more punch and snares here. It's another Apple loop where I've just taken out stuff I didn't like this stupid bell thing. And I've, added in some flams and stuff like there. And another one here. I really like that. Mm-hmm. And that's got like a nice sub drop in it. Boom. So I liked that for the sub droppiness of it. So yeah, those are the sort of two Apple loops that we sort of started with, and then yeah, started layering in things like hi-hats. Yeah, it's very loop based. Like I'm doing a little bit less playing in than usual, probably because it was just all coming together so quick. And I was like, I just want to get this thing rolling so Raye can write the best possible song with us today. Boosting it with a rim. Don't even know where that rim's from. There's two kick drums. You got my classic big kick doing like the punchy bit, like the subby kick. Boom, boom. Very short punchy kicks. It's garage, you don't want too much down there. If it was going boom, boom, you're just going to clash with the bass line. So it's very short and punchy. And there's this one as well. So that's got like a hi-hat built into it. Yeah, it looks like it was from, again, an Apple loop, Alligator Hands. I've just taken the kick from this loop and used that. Can we play that somehow? Probably if I do that. Yeah, it goes... how do you just play it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kick. So I'm just taking that first one. I just really liked the hi-hat in there. It's really nice. So yeah, combine that with my kick. You can see as well, I've like very slightly made them not in line. Can you see that? This kick, the punchy one, is just ahead of that one. So you get that hi-hat just a split second before. Like here's the difference, right? All right, and now I'll quantize it. Can you even tell?
Yeah, it's not as good. It's not as good quantized. Yeah, that sounds better.
Right? It just had,
100%.
It's like
Yeah.
you're fake compressing it, basically.
Yeah.
Because compression always lets through a little transient before it kicks in, right? Mm-hmm. The attack. I've got no compression on these kicks. So instead, I'm just making my own little transient before the kick comes in. So it's like, it's kind of fake compression.
Oh, look at that.
49 kick drums in there.
Oh, that's why it's so good.
Well, that's not quite true, actually. Yeah.
It's 49 notes in there.
Yeah, moving on. Battery is doing... What's Battery doing on this song? Oh, wow. The super lame clap. Lindrum. The Prince clap. Yeah, big 909, super compressed hi-hat, and a Lindrum. Classic old drum machine sounds. And that sort of lifts the second half of the chorus, I think, when it comes in. First half is shorter. And the clap comes now. So that's one of those claps where on its own it sounds really lame, but in the mix, it does exactly what you want it to do. Last thing, we've got claps. Yeah, claps and clicks. Oh, it is a click. Got that wrong. Clicks. So that is Hand Clap Studio, which we've actually given away on our Twitch channel many times as a prize for some of the remix competitions we do.
Oh, yeah.
You can do more as well. Let's do 8.
I didn't know you could click with it. I thought it was just claps.
Yeah.
Oh.
What else happens? We got a little tambourine comes in. And we got some transitional sweepy stuff here. Crazy. Wow, that screechy one's quite cool. Oh, that kind of actually should have fixed that.
Still making
the tune, yeah, even after it's
been out
mastered,
for weeks.
Yeah. And then you've also got this little vocal chop, which this was actually one of the first things I did, so it's funny that we're showing it last. But this is a little chop of Raye just vibing into the demo mic before we'd even written anything. It's just her going, ah. So you can hear all the spill in the background.
Oh, yes, we had the speakers on.
Yeah, she's literally just vibing, getting used to the mic, getting used to the song, and just hit play. I just cut it up and did a little... And that's in the drum bus. So at the end is where it's best, I think. A lot of the time, I like to take whoever is singing and just put a little piece of that sound in the drums, just to sort of bring some balance to, it just gets them in the music more. And it's also one of the first things you hear of Raye in the whole song, like that, before she even comes in. So it just gets you like ready for who's about to sing. So that is the drum bus with no plugins. I mean, it sounds pretty good. First of all, going through this compressor. Then going through tape saturation. Not loads, but a decent amount. Then inflator. Notice the difference yet? Nope. No. You will when I bypass them all on and off. Each piece adds like 10%, Tube, distortion, you'll hear that. So it's very subtle. That's literally what we were talking about earlier, adding harmonics across the whole drum bus. Not just a single drum, but the whole sound. EQ, barely anything. Just de-essing it a bit, kind of. Controlling those hi-hats. Just thought it was a little bit too bright. Oxford limiter. Barely even hitting the limiter. It's not even hitting the limiter. I think I put it on just for safety. Yeah, so I like to leave the drums very open and free before they hit the master. And then reverb, but that's just doing automation now and again. So here is no plugins. With...
I mean, it's subtle to me. Is everyone hearing it?
Here you go. Come on. The energy's just gone. It's like...
And then play it back?
No energy.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm hearing it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but the trick is, like, it's getting louder, right? But look at the meter. Right, it's hitting 6.9, right? And we're hitting 8.
Oh, wow.
So
But
it's gone down
louder.
in volume,
Yeah.
technically, but it sounds louder and fuller. That's the trick with drum bus processing for me anyway, is you want to achieve a fatter, richer sound and get rid of some of those transients that are going to put it in the red when it all adds up without you noticing. And that's what that's why you use compression, saturation. Like I've got 1, 2, 3 saturation type things on there and a limiter. But like I said, that actually isn't even hitting the limiter. So I'm not actually, it's not doing anything. All right, quickly, master bus vibes. Here you go. First up, SSL G-Bus. Hitting that very lightly, and I've actually only got it on about 60% wet and dry. I didn't want to overcompress this song at all. I wanted that vocal to fly out and let the mastering guy take care of a lot of that control. Saturation, very minimal. Is it even? Through. Oh yeah, it's not even. I decided not to use it, so it's not even going through that. We are going through this thing a little bit. Taking off half a dB of like something, like very, very gentle, low end control. Another Oxford inflator. Hear that difference? Can you hear that, Howard? So without.
Yeah, I can hear it in the lows. Just a bit louder, yeah.
Yeah, just louder and more vibes. Saturn 2. What am I using there? Subtle tube. More saturation. I did have these turned on when I bounced it. Linear phase, high quality. And I had this on my master EQ. I'm pushing just a bit of mids and taking off a bit of super highs. 1 dB. 1.5 dB. I would have bounced it without this and just sort of sent a screenshot of that to my mastering engineer and just gone, this is what I think we should do. And then I let him decide. And then, limiter, but that's not on there. So here it is without. So yeah, we are actually dropping in level there a bit because I've got that turned on. But it doesn't matter, I'm trying to. You want to send it to the mastering engineer quiet. It's hard to A/B it when you've got the different gain changes, but what matters is it's more controlled, it's more compressed, it's saturated. So for me, it doesn't really matter about like that it's taken a drop in gain because it was coming in too hot anyway. Look, if I take those off, yeah, -6. That's like the most loud you'd ever want to send it to a mastering engineer. I personally think you're better off somewhere between -10 and -8, really. So that's where we're at. I think that's it.